TEDxIE. It's absolutely an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you this afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I'm here to speak about something that's very close to my heart. How many people here, and I want to see a raise of hands, think that success is the car you drive, is the title you have, is the place that you live in, is the flights that you take, it's the social media holidays that you post? Can I see a raise of hands? How many of you think that's what success is? It was a trick question. Okay, how many of you actually write down your intentions or do a vision board or do anything like that in a year? Do you know what setting intentions is? Yeah, I see a few hands. Okay, so today we're going to talk about two parts of the puzzle: redefining success and what success means to you, and also looking at what intentional living can do to transform and transition this success into something that's deeply personal and deeply cathartic and beautiful. When we look at success, we often look at it like a ladder. You know, we all think we have to climb here and then we have to climb here. But what if success was a circle? What if success was the magic of community? What if success was deeply linked to purpose? When you think about it, we think that it's about achieving a certain class, whether in society or otherwise, a title at work, or a predefined structure. Somewhere we've been taught that, conditioning. We measure success through external validation because it feels nice, no? Especially today, social media has taught us that success is about how cool we look, what reels we put, how many likes we got. Is that really success? We also look at status, we look at wealth, we look at recognition. Now let's challenge that. For a moment, let's step back and let's really look at what success means. Is success just money in the bank? Is it just a certain title? Is it just a certain class? When I look at success, I have realized that I've deeply transformed the way I associate myself with success. I realize that my success is deeply linked to my values and my internal purpose. When we start to deconstruct the way success has been defined traditionally, we realize that it means really different things to different people. At its core, success is more profound and even has a more spiritual sort of a meaning. And if you look at philosophy, success can be defined in such a beautifully transformative way. And that beats all these traditional, conventional markers that we put to success. Do you know that success is a lot less common than failure? One of the things that we have to learn to deal with better is failure, because failure will come to us a lot more often than success ever will. You will hear a lot of success stories in the world around you. You know, people are telling us about how successful they were at that startup. We don't realize the journey to that point of success has had so many milestones of failure. Have you all heard the line, failure is a stepping stone to success? So if you're more resilient and if you're more stronger, you're able to drive success a lot more intentionally. Let me share a little bit about a pivotal moment in my life which changed my perspective about success. And I'm going to backtrack to when I was in college, which is about 21 plus years ago. I just may have revealed my age, but back in college, I had the last year of my graduation was coming to its end. I was earmarked to be the best outgoing student. I had everything going for me. I was the cultural secretary. I was all of that. Now, if I had to look at today where I'm standing, I think society sees me as a successful person. Many fingers and many pies, things that I have done which traditionally would cater to the idea of what success means. But that young girl back in college, when she was waiting for all of this to happen, there was a moment in her life that transformed for her. So, to cut to the chase, I tried to copy in a pre-final exam, and I was caught. And it was the first time I was trying to do something like that, so obviously it doesn't come with a lot of confidence, so you're really not sure how to do this. And when I did it, and I was caught, my title was revoked. I was not the best outgoing student anymore. And I realized that a lot of my relationship with what I had built entirely on my authenticity and my integrity. And the minute this happened, I felt a very deep sense of shame. I said, I just decided to give away my life's work for a moment of something that I thought would give me a shortcut to something. Was that shortcut really worth it? No, it was not. And I stood there wondering if this is what cheating or a shortcut could do to your life, it's not something that's worth taking the risk with. That's when I decided that I'm going to deeply ingrain my value system of honesty into the work that I do. All of 20 years old with this experience to sort of set me up for the future, I realize looking back now that it was not a failure, that it was a stepping stone to something that deeply changed something inside me. I didn't seek external validation anymore. I sought internal purpose and I sought internal peace. My conscience had to be clear for me to be able to build on the values that I was given, and I recognized that that was going to be my pathway to actually accessing something much bigger than what I ever thought. So when you recognize that the external markers don't really define your success, then starts the inward journey, the walk into who you are at your core. So when you assume that you have arrived, and a lot of people assume that, in my mind, success was never any of those labels of arriving at something. So when that shame steeped in and when I recognized that my honesty and my authenticity were my biggest protective shields that I could build for myself and my career, I think that's when I realized that I should never ever compromise on my integrity. When your trajectory of seeking validation, external validation, your accolades, all of that without understanding the importance of values comes in, you're actually chasing something. You're chasing the next best thing, right? Because nothing is ever good enough. Or the next one, and the next one, and the next one. There is that limit to where you're going to stop yourself and ask, is this truly who I am? Is this truly what I want? So let's redefine success, not as external achievements, but with internal alignment. Internal alignment with the truth of you at the core of your being. We often fear setbacks. We often think, oh my God, the first sign of failure, and you're scared now because you're scared to try again. What if you failed? Because we're often taught, no, that failure is, that's it, you're finished. The world doesn't treat failure very kindly. But it's important for us to treat ourselves through failure very kindly, with a lot of compassion, and holding ourselves accountable to doing better. Because remember, the universe has a way of working through setbacks to reroute the direction in a way that's actually going to work for you. At that moment, I thought it was all over. I didn't realize that I was building the most strongest pillar of my life, my value system based on my authenticity. True success is really about how you show up for yourself when no one is watching. Imagine you took away all the social media, you took away all the cameras. Imagine you were just sitting with yourself. What is the texture of your silence when you're sitting with yourself? Is it happy? Is it full? Is it profound? And is it healing? These are important questions to ask ourselves when we build our future. All of you have futures ahead of you, especially in a world that is telling you to chase, right? To run, to get to the next thing. But pause. Pause now because you have the ability to transform the world. I'll tell you a little story about being authentic, right? So when I went for Mrs. India World, I went exactly looking like this. And I went and I was in the Delhi airport and I was on the escalator going down and I saw a full circle of women wearing floor-length gowns, holding their bags perfectly with sunglasses. And I thought, what did I get myself into? Because I don't look, talk, behave, or act like any one of them. But could I become that even for a short while? I said, no, I'm not going to even try. Because I would fail at being somebody I was not. My authenticity came to my rescue. I really looked like their photographer, their event manager, or their makeup artist. I did not look like one of them. On the second day, I realized that my styling was so unique. Like I said, I went looking like this, like myself, that I did stick out like a sore thumb. But what I had was the strength of my words, was the ability to communicate. So by day 3, I was helping everybody write their introductions. I was giving out answers to the 100 plus questions that were given to us that we could potentially be asked. And I had built a circle of friends in a space that I didn't fit into. And why? Because I didn't try to fit in. I was myself. I refused to buckle down to the standards of beauty that were expected or the standards of behavior that were expected. And I stood my ground and my light. And I said, I'm going to shine doing exactly what I do best, which is be myself. And I won Mrs. India World 2017. Cut to the chase, whether it's my career, whether it's, the Miss Empowerment, Universal Empowerment last year, which I won. We had about 65 countries participating. We had a lot of Spanish-speaking people. Again, I was in a place where I didn't know the language. This was in Dominican Republic in Punta Cana. I went with a shaved head. I remember my, coordinator in India calling me saying, "What did you do?" And I said, "Oh God, what did I do now?" Because I'm always known to, not comply. She said, "But you shaved your head." I said, "Yeah." She's like, "The pageant is in 2 weeks." I said, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that." But here I was, a shaved head, just ideas inside that shaved head, me in my sari, representing India on a universal stage. And I won Miss Universal Empowerment 2024. Sometimes don't let the world define for you who you are and who you should be. Everybody who thinks and defines you, remember, that is their opinion. Who you are, only you get to decide, only you get to define. So when we look at all of these stories of my own life, what I've realized is true success is really about showing up for yourself when that room is empty and when you're standing absolutely stark naked with your reality in front of you, staring back at you, and then you can judge for yourself how you've done. And when you feel at peace in that moment, that's one of the most cathartic, beautiful moments to step into, because that's where the magic happens. It's about choosing our values over validation. It's also about prioritizing what's right over what's easy. The easy path's always going to show up for us. But if it's easy, remember that every choice that you make comes with a consequence associated to it. Remember, we will all bear witness to our consequences. When we redefine success, it's no longer about what the world is choosing to see, but what you feel about yourself intrinsically. When you transition from the external validation to intentional living, which is where I'm going to bring success to intention, you are being fully mindfully present to what the moment offers for you. You're making conscious choices rather than simply reacting to what life is throwing at you. When you set your intention and when you say, this is what I'm going to go after, it's so much more simpler. How do you do this, right? Everybody is going to ask, okay, it sounds all fancy, but how can I do this? And it's a simple framework. First, and you may want to take notes, is clarity of purpose. Define what truly matters to you and go beyond external expectations or validations. Who are you at the core of all that you are, and how can you show up for yourself in the best version that you can ever be? Next, intentional decision making. Every time you have a decision to make, weigh out the pros and cons, and remember that every decision has to align with your core values. So it's important to identify what your core values are. Next is mindful presence. Being mindfully present means being in the moment fully. When you're doing something, give it your everything. Very rarely will you then fail, because when you give something your everything, you've already nurtured it and birthed it into life. So give it your everything. It's time to be present in the moments that are offered to you, the magic of the world. And when you choose to step into that, magic truly happens. Gratitude and reflection. I have so much belief in the power of gratitude. This is a room full of privilege. We all should be grateful for the fact that we're able to sit in air conditioning when the heat is like that outside. We all speak English. We all have access to education. Gratitude is a powerful thing because it gives you so much access to abundance. So take time to acknowledge what you're grateful for, what your life has given you, and reflect on the magic that is already there in your lives. Authenticity over perfection. I love this line which says, persistence over consistency. You can drop, you can fail, you can feel not so great on one day, but pick it up. Don't stop. You can't be consistent all the time. You know, that's achieving perfection is an impossible task, and we all try and fail. It's okay. Be authentic and commit to the persistence, not to the consistency. Give yourself that room. And don't try and be perfect. Perfection is too high a standard. Aim for showing up for yourself, and you'll realize perfection, if it has to happen, will anyway happen. Success stops being something that you chase and becomes something that you attract. Sit back and reflect on your purpose, and do this intentionally. All these steps that I just gave you, and recognize how success changes for you. A lot of studies show that there is a lot of validation in the power of setting intentions, right? Research has shown, whether it's in psychotherapy or in philosophy or in spirituality and neuroscience, it shows that when you set conscious intentions, you're actually channeling the power of your subconscious mind. You know that there's a very small percentage of our mind that's conscious, that's constantly working. The large part of our minds have the power of the subconscious to be able to reverse engineer the outcomes you visualize. Which is why when you set an intention, it's going out there and it's telling your subconscious mind to start working towards it. It's not even thinking actively, but it's happening inside you, this process. Right? Dr. Gail Matthews from Dominican University did a research study which said that 48% people more achieved the outcomes that they set out to when they wrote down their intentions versus people that didn't. So write down your intentions. Start a weekly intention practice. Start an annual practice. Beginning of the year, visualize where you want to be at the end of the year. You know, sit and think about those moments that you're going to achieve the things that you want to set out for yourself. Truly, success is not about how much you have, but it's how much you give of yourself to what is being made available to you. All of these research studies show that when you approach life with clear intention, you're able to get greater fulfillment from the processes that you're involved in. It reduces your stress and increases your well-being by actually giving you the outcomes that you want and need. I'm not saying this, research is, right? So there's clearly something that's working with intentions. So today, I'm going to talk to you about authenticity, alignment, and intentionality. Authenticity, we already spoke about. Alignment, also we spoke about. When I say alignment, I'm talking about aligning ourselves to the values that we hold very dear and we hold very close to ourselves. And intentionality is to set at every stage that intent for you that you want to achieve by the end of the... This is an intent, right? Somebody envisioned and put the intention to create a TEDxXIE, and it's happening today. So when you set the intent, it's about channeling all of your energies towards achieving the outcome that that intent has set for you instead. So it's about chasing that down and really bringing that into life. Today, before I leave you, I'm going to ask just a few questions. What does success truly mean to you? How can I redefine it in a way that it aligns with my values and my purpose? Am I chasing success or am I attracting it? Because at the end of the day, the greatest achievement is to live a life that feels right only for you. And on that note, wishing all of you a very successful, intentional, well-received life. Wishing that the universe works with all of you to get you all to be change makers and transformative agents as you step out into the careers that are waiting to happen for you. Use this and let me know how it went. Thank you all so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.